Okay, good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well this Sunday morning. Instead of a more traditional Dharma talk, today it was requested that I give, I guess, kind of background about myself and the temple in Jodo Shinshu from my point of view as a springboard for today's Dharma exchange, which will be kind of like a AMA for me, or Ask Me Anything about the temple, Buddhism in Jodo Shinshu. So instead of taking the time at that event to kind of explain my background, myself, how I came to the temple, I thought that this morning I would share that in today's Dharma message. So in preparation for this, I was sent kind of like a list of questions to kind of answer and reflect on. And so I thought I'd share some of the answers to those questions with you this morning. And then anything that we don't get to, please feel free to come to Dharma Exchange, and we can exchange together talking about our different paths to the temple in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism as well. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Jason Yokoyama. I am a part of the temple that kind of came to the temple as a kid and grew up here. My parents are both temple members. They actually met at a YBA event, and so Buddhism in Jodo Shinshu has been in my family throughout my entire life. I attended Dharma school here, I graduated Dharma school, and then attended the University of Washington, where I got a degree in microbiology. In my current daytime job, I am a scientist at a small biotech company developing new cancer therapies to treat different types of solid tumor cancers like lung cancer or ovarian cancer. But every Sunday, I come to temple here to help out. I am a certified minister's assistant. My journey there started in 2007 when I attended the YAC or Yak retreat down in California. That was my first foray into learning more about Jodo Shinshu Buddhism and Buddhism in general. Since then, I went to multiple trainings, and when I aged out at age 23, I became a certified minister's assistant with the Buddhist Churches of America. My temple participations include being a board member at our temple board. I'm a Dharma school teacher, even though I don't teach very many classes, as my class will probably tell you. Sorry. Actually, today, because I have to do Dharma exchange, high school class, you need to go to the middle school class. So there's a good example. And additionally, I am the treasurer of the Young Adult Buddhist Association and a supervisor or advisor to the senior YBA, or the Senior Young Buddhist Association. At the national level, I currently serve as the Northwest District Representative on the National Buddhist Committee of Scouting. And so I help oversee all religious Buddhist Scouting awards, like the Scout Sunday service we handed out awards a couple weeks ago. And that's kind of the background on me in a very short time. And so looking at some of the questions that was sent to me, the first was, why do I come to temple every Sunday? As a preface to everything that I'm going to talk about this morning, as well as at Dharma Exchange, is that these are all my opinions. These are all my thoughts. So please, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, especially at Dharma Exchange when we're coming together and giving our opinions. So please be respectful of others. And what I'm saying is not truth across the board for anything. But for why I personally come, I think that this question requires a lot of background and detail. My personal opinion is throughout our lives, as we think about temple, the reasons that we come here, I think, changes. When we're a kid, when we come to temple, it's because our parents tell us that we have to come. Every Sunday, they get you up and they're like, okay, we're going to church, let's go. And then you just get in the car, and then you sit in service, and perhaps you take in what's going on, but really you kind of want to see your friends, and it's just something that you do. It's routine. As we get older and we have a more, understanding of Buddhism and some of the lessons, I think that our how do I explain this? Our reasoning for coming is because we want to hear the teachings. We kind of can see that there's something about it that has an influence on our lives, and we want to learn more. For me personally, a prime example is thinking about how the lessons of impermanence or interdependence plays in our lives, and how that can kind of lead to better understandings of our situations, and of course, kind of living a more life of gratitude and ease of suffering. I think a prime example of this, and here's going to be my shameless plug for the seminar that's coming up. So if you noticed this morning on the TV that's out there, there is a lecture by Reverend Dr. Kenneth Tanaka that's on the 14th from 7 to 9 p.m. I took a picture so that I would remember. And he's going to come and talk. And something that Sensei's been talking about for the past couple of weeks is the book Jewels, which was written for kind of youth and scouting programs. However, it's a really good book to read. So I encourage all of you to please attend Reverend Tanaka's ceremony, read the book Jewels if you can. I have a personal connection with this book. I actually helped Reverend Tanaka edit this book. I'm actually quoted in this book. That's my claim to fame. And the reason I was quoted is because in the book there's chapters where students are asking him questions. And one of the questions is about choosing a major in college and saying, all of my friends have a clear direction and a path of where they want to go, but I don't. What do I do? And my response to that is that Buddhism teaches us that everything isn't permanent, everything is changing. I changed my degree 3 times in college before I landed to where I wanted to go. Many of my friends changed what they wanted to do, and that's okay. And kind of the understanding of Buddhism helped me realize that and kind of get to that place where this is okay. The Buddha says, come as you are. Everybody has their own paths, and that's all right. And that sort of teaching really resonated with me, and is kind of part of the reason why I enjoy coming to temple, to listening to the Dharma. But of course, there's a huge social aspect to that as well. I see my friends every Sunday. We teach classes together. We do what my parents now do, which is after we're done with temple duties, we go to lunch. It's a social thing, right? Because this is a community, and one of the Buddha's 3 treasures is Sangha. And I think, Sensei said that during his interview here at the temple, I think Reverend Warwick asked him, of the 3 Buddhist treasures, what's the most important to you? And I think he said Sangha. And if I'm misremembering this, I'm going to apologize. But I agree with that, and I think that Sangha is what's most important to me right now in my life. Of course, this may change as I get older, and I accept that, but for now, I like to come to temple to, 1, listen to the Dharma, but to be with the Sangha, talk with my friends, and live in the social aspect that is the temple today. The next question is, what do I look forward to when I come to temple? I think it's very clear that I look forward to talking with everybody. I look forward to seeing people. And what will keep me coming back to the temple as I continue to age? For me, I think because there's not a lot of people my age, there's kind of a break in your attendance in temple. I think what we're seeing, and there's a lot of talks sort of both at the temple and national district level, is that people that are my age, which is early 30s, yeah, I'm old. If you look around, there's not a lot of us here, right? And I think something that we've seen is once you've graduated from Dharma school, once you're kind of out of college, people that are my age kind of stop coming to temple. And it's really only when we start settling down, we have children, we bring our children back to temple so that they can have that same experience that we had growing up here. As someone that's lived kind of throughout the temple, it's something that I don't know how to describe really. I think my best example is when I went to that first retreat in 2007 in California. I knew no one, but I instantly made friends, lifelong friends, and connections with everybody there because there was something about growing up at the temple, back then, looking like I did, being a minority, that really was special. And that kind of special bond is something that I really think and I appreciate about our temple community here, is because it's nurtured in our youth, which I think is very important. It's my dad always used to tell me, oh, your school friends will come and go, but your temple friends, those are the friends that you'll probably be with for the rest of your life because you grew up together, you spend all of your time together at least once a week. And I can, very happily say that some of my best friends I met at temple. And that was one of the things that really made me want to become more a part of the temple. When I first wanted to become a minister's assistant, I told Reverend Castro, I am happy to be a minister's assistant. I want to focus on youth programs. I want to bring that piece of what I experienced in California here to the Northwest District. Of course, it's very difficult, right? Their community there is much tighter. They have a vast amount of more temples. They're closer together. And so you're seeing these people, all of your temple friends all the time. A common thing to do in the summertime is you go obon hopping because multiple temples have their obons on the same day. And they're so close together, you just drive to all of them and you experience everything, you see all of your friends, and it's a very fun thing to do. Of course, I can't really do that in our district, but what I wanted to do was kind of form that youth Sangha and kind of have it carry throughout, because I feel like that's really important. And when I think about like what keeps me coming back, it's that. It's so that even though some people tend to leave, when they do come back, I think that it's important that the temple is still here. I think, right, my dad used to say, what good is the temple if, when you need it, it's not there anymore. And so I took that to heart. I don't know if that's just because my temple family's like been very active in the temple, but I think that that's important for me personally. And a reason why I like coming to temple, I want to help out at the temple as much as I can in my capacity, of course. But also, I hope that everyone else kind of thinks about that and reflects on their own life, about why do they come to temple? What makes this place special for them? And kind of like to share that with everybody else. Because if we kind of land on these pieces of what makes it special, what people enjoy, those are the things that I think that we can cherish and help grow our temple community, so that when new people come to the temple, they can experience that. When people that are a part of the temple return, they kind of feel that coming back to home that, we always talk about, like, this is our safe space, this is our home. And that, I think, for me personally, but I think for many people that are kind of in my similar situation, is really important. So the next question, I think, is a very tricky question, which is, what do I think needs to be changed or improved at the temple, right? Because this is entirely my opinion, and I think this is a major topic of discussion at all levels, temple, district, and BCA. I think it's no surprise that membership across the board is falling for temples, for districts, et cetera, right? Temples are getting smaller. The Issei Nisi community that built the temples are slowly passing away, and so we need a new influx of things to help maintain the temple as the times change and change with ourselves, right? It's this very interesting thing that I found where there's all of your traditional ministers that talk about the temples need to stay, there's parts of the temples that need to stay the same. Community, ritual, all that stuff, Of course, I agree that, temple ritual needs to stay the same, but for some practices or some we're a highly Japanese-American community, we haven't really done a lot of outreach outside of that. Some people may think that that's how things should stay, but I think the interesting thing is that we have to remember about, impermanence. Nothing's gonna last forever, and so I think it's important that we start thinking about changes we can make that one appeal to a wide audience, but also kind of is forward-looking and thinking to the future of how we can continue to thrive, as a community. Improvements at the temple, I think. A lot of my improvements are like building improvements. Like, the elevator that we all talk about would be nice so that more people that can't really get around can find a way to get around. Something that I've brought up, I think, with some people here at the temple as well as my parents is our no kotsudo is a little small. Where are mom and dad gonna go? There's no space there, right? And not that, I know that's a very kind of sad thing to think about, but as Buddhists, we think about all aspects of life and impermanence. So, for years I've been like, mom and dad aren't gonna fit in there. There's a small little room. So maybe some temple improvements to make a larger space for our Sangha as it continues to grow and stuff would be important. But in terms of growing in community, I think that we're slowly stepping down the right path. I think that we're kind of beginning more outreach, we're becoming more public in sort of our presence, right? We're trying to open up this year more volunteers to help out at Obon and Bonodori. We march in the Pride Parade. We have this public view of acceptance. We're spreading, our community in Jodo Shinshu, and I really think that that's the way that we should be going. And then I've been talking for a while, so I'll say one more question on this list, and then I will conclude, and then we will continue this conversation in Dharma Exchange. But the last one that's coming up next is, what am I doing to welcome and get to know new Sangha members who I don't already know? And honestly, I can say, as of right now, I'm not doing too much. which is something that I personally want to work on. And so I will admit that. I think that, I spend time at temple with my community, with my Sangha, which is fostering that, but I also want to continue it to grow. And so the baby steps of that is that we had a meeting of the Young Adult Buddhist Association, of the Senior Young Adult Buddhist Association at Hanamatsuri last week. And we discussed how can we sort of grow our program? How can we get more participation? How can we become more of a presence here at the temple, which I think is important to all of us. And so we are slowly thinking about reaching out to colleges, reaching out to those students that have come here from California, Hawaii, making them feel welcome here at our temple, reminding them that this is a place for them, right? They have their home temple, but this can be their new home while they're here with us. And I think that that's what's important. I'm very busy at temple. I feel like I'm always running around, but I will strive within the next year, a couple of months, to kind of meet some of the new faces that I see that I haven't seen, and old faces too, as COVID is changing and we are beginning to reopen. I think I, as well as Sensei, was very happy with the amount of people that came out last week. It was really nice to kind of see that sort of old temple feel, but also some of the new faces that I haven't seen before that I want to meet and kind of commune with and kind of get more temple involvement. And so I'm going to try doing that. I encourage all of you to try that as well so that we can continue to kind of grow our community, grow our Sangha, and think about what makes this place so special, because I think it is different for each of us. And so with that, I'm going to conclude today. I'm very excited and really ready to talk to everyone here at Dharma Exchange coming after this service. I really hope that we have a good sort of discussion. Please feel free, like I said, ask me my own opinion, ask each other your own opinion. Let's get a good talk going. It looks like it's going to be a nice conversation. So in closing, if you could please all join me in Gasho. Namo Idabutsu. Namo Idabutsu. Namo Idabutsu. Namo Dabs. Namo Dabs.